Welcome back, Heartland fans. It was a still, moonlit night at Heartland, the kind where stars shimmered like diamonds scattered across a velvet sky and a cool breeze whispered through the tall poplars. All was quiet, all was quiet, all was peaceful. Inside the farmhouse, Amy Fleming slept soundly, wrapped in the warmth of familiar dreams. But that peace shattered in an instant. A sharp metallic clang echoed from the barn, followed by the frantic, terrified cries of the horses. It wasn't a restless shuffle. It was sheer panic. Amy bolted upright, her heart pounding. She threw on a jacket, grabbed a flashlight, and raced out into the night, the cold air biting at her skin. The barn loomed ahead, cast in eerie shadows. As she reached the entrance, she froze. Spartan, her loyal horse, stood completely still in the moonlight, but he wasn't alone. A man, tall and motionless, stood just a few feet away, his face hidden under the shadow of a hood. He wore a dark jacket and jeans, his posture calm, too calm, too calm. The flashlight flickered in Amy's hand. In that brief glimmer, she saw something impossible. Spartan wasn't scared. He was calm, as if he recognized this man. "Hey, who are you?" Amy's voice cut through the silence. The man didn't respond. He simply turned and walked away, vanishing into the shadows. Amy ran after him, but when she reached the spot where he should have been, there was nothing. No man, no sound, not even a single footprint in the dirt. The next morning at Heartland felt heavy. Amy sat at the kitchen table, her coffee untouched, recounting the night's events to Jack and Lou. "I couldn't see his face," she said, her voice quiet. But Spartan, he wasn't afraid. It was like he knew him. Jack's brows furrowed. Spartan doesn't trust strangers, never has. Lou, her face tense, asked, "You think someone broke in? A thief?" Amy shook her head slowly. No, it didn't feel dangerous. It felt familiar. The feeling clung to her all day. That afternoon, as Lindy played near Spartan's stall, Amy heard her daughter's clear voice. "Mommy, Daddy came home." Amy's heart stopped. "What did you say, sweetie?" Lindy looked up with innocent certainty. "I saw Daddy last night. He was with Spartan. He smiled at me. For a moment, everything blurred." "Lindy, that's not possible," Amy whispered. But her daughter just nodded and went back to playing. Later, unable to shake the feeling, Amy returned to the barn alone as the sun was setting. She searched for any sign she hadn't imagined at all. And then she saw it. Near Spartan's stall, half buried in the hay, was an old faded photograph of her and Ty taken years ago. On the back, in Ty's unmistakable handwriting, was a single word, forever. Amy staggered backward, her heart pounding. Was this a twisted joke? That night, sleep never came. Just before dawn, she heard the quiet creak of the mailbox outside. Rushing out, she found the road empty, but inside the mailbox was a single envelope. The note inside was written in Ty's handwriting, words she knew like her own heartbeat. "I never meant to leave you." The letter slipped from her trembling fingers. Deep down, a tiny spark of hope flickered to life. The next day, Amy showed the letter to Jack. He took one look and his eyes softened. "This is Ty's writing," he said, his voice low. "There's no doubt." Lou wasn't convinced. "Jack, it could be someone mimicking him, someone cruel." Amy looked at them both, her voice steady despite the chaos inside her. Spartan wasn't scared. Lindy saw him, and now this. It's not a coincidence. That afternoon, Amy reviewed the barn security footage, scrolling through hours of shadows and silence. She was about to give up when one moment stopped her cold. For just 1 second of video, a man stood still in front of the camera. The light hit his face. It was him. Ty. Amy gasped, freezing the frame, rewinding, playing it again and again. It wasn't a trick of the light. Not a dream. It was Ty Borden alive. Lou came over later and Amy showed her the video. Lou shook her head. "No, Amy, this can't be real. It could be a deepfake video. There are apps for this." Amy's voice trembled. Spartan didn't panic. Lindy saw him. "And this," she held up the note, "this is his handwriting. This is his handwriting. You can feel it in your heart, Lou. Can't you?" Later, Amy took the note to Georgie. They had always been more like sisters than cousins. Georgie held the note carefully. "This is Ty's style, his words." Then her face changed. "Wait, look at this," she said, pointing to a tiny mark on the corner. A number, 102. Georgie typed it into her laptop. A file blinked onto the screen. Amy leaned in, her eyes scanning the string of numbers. "It's linked to a wildlife rescue group in northern Alberta," she whispered. "One Ty volunteered with years ago, before we were even married." Jack stood behind her, watching silently. He's trying to tell us something, Amy said, her voice dropping. This isn't random. It's a breadcrumb. That night, something strange happened at the clinic. Amy had stayed late finishing paperwork. As she stepped outside to lock up, she saw a figure walking away from the building, slow and purposeful. Hey, she called out. We're closed. The figure didn't respond, just kept walking before vanishing into the tree line. Amy rushed back inside, her heart hammering. Nothing seemed out of place until she reached the counter. A black glove lay there, one she'd never seen before. She picked it up with shaking hands. Inside was a tag with 2 letters stitched in faded thread, TB. Her breath caught. Back at the ranch, she told Jack everything. This isn't someone messing with you, he said, his expression unreadable. This feels like he's here watching. Amy nodded slowly. Then why doesn't he just come out? Why stay hidden? Jack's eyes darkened. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he's not himself. Days passed. Amy returned to the clinic, pulled by something she couldn't explain. She opened a cupboard near Ty's old desk and found a small wooden box she'd never seen before. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were 3 things: an old worn photo of Ty holding a wolf pup, the necklace she'd given him on their 2nd anniversary, and a small leather-bound journal. She opened it slowly. The handwriting on the first page made her knees go weak. It was his. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. I don't remember how I left. Sometimes I see things, you and Lindy, in danger. I think they were watching me, watching you. So I had to run, to keep you safe. The words blurred through Amy's tears. Ty hadn't died. He had disappeared, lost in a storm of trauma and broken memories, thinking he was protecting the people he loved most. She clutched the journal to her chest and ran home. She burst into the kitchen where Jack and Lou were sipping coffee and opened the journal on the table. They read the page in stunned silence. He's alive, Amy's voice broke the stillness, and he never stopped loving us. Jack's eyes brimmed with tears. Then we're not waiting anymore. We find him. We bring him home. Lou, pale and shaken, stared at the journal. If he's this lost, we need to be careful. We don't know who we're dealing with inside his head. Amy nodded, eyes fierce. He's close. I can feel it. And I'm not stopping until I hold him again. The wind howled that morning, but it wasn't the wind that woke Amy. It was a dream, a memory of Ty standing in the barn, whispering her name. Check the tree, he said softly. Amy bolted upright. The old oak near the river where they'd carved their names. She ran out into the misty morning light. Her fingers traced the bark, a plus T, faint but still there. And then she saw it, a small wooden box hidden behind a loose piece of bark. Inside was a folded note and the necklace she gave him on their 1st anniversary. The note read, You're close now, but being near me might be dangerous. Be careful, Amy. My head. It's not right. She pressed the necklace to her heart, tears falling. Back at the ranch, Jack frowned at the box. He's not hiding because he wants to. He's scared of himself. Amy nodded. Then we need help. Someone outside the family. Jack picked up his phone. Caleb once said Ty worked with a guy up north, Sam Kincaid. Later that day, Jack called Sam to the ranch. When he arrived, his face was pale. Amy showed him the journal. Sam stayed quiet for a long time. You weren't supposed to find out, he finally said. And after the incident, the real one, he wasn't the same. He had episodes, terrible nightmares. He thought people were after him, that you were in danger. One day, he just vanished. We were told not to talk about it. For his safety and yours. Amy's voice trembled. Why come back now? Sam shook his head. Maybe something triggered a memory. Maybe the part of him that still Ty is fighting to get home. Georgie stepped forward. We found a code, 102. It led us to a place in Alberta. Sam's eyes widened. That's a shelter he helped build. If he felt lost, he might go there. It was his safe place. Amy and Georgie drove to the Alberta shelter. An old man greeted them. Amy showed him Ty's photo. He used to be here. The man's eyes softened. Kind man, didn't say much. He left a few days ago, said it was time to go home. Left this for someone named Amy. He handed her a letter. Amy opened it. If you found this, I know you won't stop, but please be safe. I can't control the fear. I see them following me. I won't let them hurt you. He had been here, so close. That night, Heartland held its breath. Amy sat on the front porch, eyes lifted to the stars, lifted to the stars. Jack stepped out beside her. He's trying to come home, he said softly. I just hope he makes it. Inside, Lindy slept. But outside, just beyond the barn, a shadow lingered near the fence. Spartan looked up, ears forward, and gave a slow, quiet nod. Amy's breath caught. Insuka caught. From the tree line, a figure stepped into the light. Worn boots, tired eyes, a familiar stance. Ty Borden, alive. Not the man who left, but the man who survived. Amy froze, and then she ran. Ty, she cried, her voice breaking as she crashed into his open arms. He gripped her like he was afraid she'd disappear. His voice was a rasp. Amy, she held him like she'd never let go. But even in that moment, his eyes scanned the horizon, watching, always watching. The screen door creaked. Jack stopped cold. I don't believe it. Ty gave a tired, knowing smile. Believe it, Jack. Jack pulled him into a hug that collapsed a lifetime of pain. Footsteps pounded down the stairs. Lou appeared, frozen in disbelief. Then a small voice broke through. Daddy! Lindy stood blinking in her pajamas. Ty's eyes welled as he knelt. Hey, sweetheart. She ran to him, wrapping her arms around his neck. As the family stood in the shock of a miracle, one truth echoed louder than the wind. Ty Borden was home, but the fight wasn't over. He held Lindy tight, his shoulders shaking. I missed you so much, but the moment didn't last. He stood, his smile fading. We don't have much time. Amy's voice was soft. Time for what? They know I'm back. In the kitchen, Ty tried to explain. The memories were fragmented. After the shooting, the fear never left. He saw threats everywhere. No. I thought they were coming for you, he said, his voice strained. So I ran. I had no choice. Amy held his hand. Why come back now? Because I saw a picture of Lindy, and I knew I had to try. Lou asked the question on everyone's mind. Are we in danger now? Now? Ty looked at them, his eyes filled with pain. From me? I don't know. The next morning, Georgie rushed in. I checked the road cameras. 2 vans drove past last night, no plates. Amy's stomach dropped. Ty's face went pale. They're not real. They can't be. Jack stepped forward. Then what do we do? Ty looked toward the mountains. I have to leave. I'll draw them away. The ones in my head. Amy grabbed his arm. You just got back. You're not leaving again. If I stay, Ty said, his voice cracking, I'll bring the storm here. That night, Amy found him in the barn with Spartan. I waited for you, she whispered. I know, Ty said. Every day I tried to remember the way home. Amy touched his face. Don't go again. Ty looked into her eyes. I'll come back, I promise. But I have to finish this fight in my own head, so I don't lose my family again. At dawn, he kissed Lindy goodbye and hugged Jack and Tack. Amy stood at the truck, tears in her eyes. She placed his old necklace in his hand. To remind you who you are. He closed his hand around it. I love you. Then he drove away. The old road wound through the dusty hills. Ty drove alone. What he didn't know was that Amy couldn't let him go. She found Georgie. Track his phone. We're going after him. At Heartland, Lou tried to stop them. He needs space. Jack shook his head. No, he needs his family. Amy couldn't sit still. Lindy came into the kitchen. Is Daddy coming back today? Amy hugged her tight. He promised. He doesn't break promises. Meanwhile, Ty reached an abandoned ranger station deep in the woods, a place he and Amy had found years ago. He stepped inside, clutching the necklace. He sank to the floor, head in his hands, lost in a sea of fractured memories. Suddenly, a sound outside. A truck door. He scrambled behind a cabinet, his heart pounding. The door creaked open. Ty. It was Amy's voice. He didn't move. He couldn't. What if she wasn't real? Jack stepped in, followed by Georgie. Son, Jack said gently, it's over. You're safe. Ty slowly emerged from the shadows, his eyes wild with fear and confusion. Amy walked toward him slowly, her own eyes filled with tears. It's me, Ty. It's real. We're real. He looked at her at the necklace in his hand and then at Jack. For the first time, a flicker of clarity cut through the fog. I was so scared, he whispered. It was who fought beside you when the war was inside your own mind. Jack tossed Ty his old cowboy hat with a wink. Time to go home, cowboy. The next morning, peace settled over Heartland. Ty stepped out of the truck, bruised not by fists, but by the battle within. Amy ran into his arms. You kept your promise. He held her tightly. Always. That night, the family sat around a crackling fire. No more secrets, no more running, just the beginning of a long road to healing. Amy leaned her head on Ty's shoulder. What now? He smiled softly, the first true smile she'd seen. Now we heal, together. Lindy giggled as she placed a crown of wildflowers on his head. You're king of the ranch now, Daddy. Ty laughed, a real clear laugh that echoed through the yard like music the land hadn't heard in years. Outside, the shadows were gone. Ty Borden was finally home. And this time, he wasn't leaving. The heart of Heartland beats stronger than ever, and the ride isn't over yet.